Hey guys, this is Justin B from TechPB, and this is going to be a video on some of the basic things that go along with paintball. This is basically a video for beginners. As you can see, I don't know how well you can see all this stuff, but I'll be having this in the video. But I've got all of my different pieces of equipment here that I'm going to be showing, and basically it's just going to be some of the basics that you need, like what should I wear, where do I get air, all that. So first I'm going to start off with what do I wear. When you go to play a day of paintball, obviously you're probably going to get dirty, you're going to get paint all over you, there's going to be shells from the paintballs exploding on you. So you're going to want to wear clothes that you don't mind getting like soiled, damaged, whatever. And what I wore originally was just a sweatshirt and some jeans. And I wore that probably the entire first year I played paintball. Only recently, probably about 6 months ago, I got paintball pants and real jersey and everything. So yeah, just wear some sweatpants, some jeans, a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, and you might want to wear two sweatshirts the first time if it's, depending on the weather. If it's really hot outside, I'd recommend only wearing one. A paintball hitting you doesn't hurt nearly as bad as people on the internet make it out to be. It doesn't hurt really bad at all. I mean, I have a permanent scar right here from getting shot. Not really permanent, but it's my most recent one, and I'm sure it's going to be there quite a while. But that's just from getting bunkered, and that only happens when you're like playing tournament paintball. That should never happen to you when you're just playing a regular game of woods ball or rec ball. If that does, I would definitely let the referees know, because that shouldn't be happening when you're just playing some regular old rec ball. So next I'm going to go on to where do I get air. Basically, at the field they have fill stations, and you pay to get, usually you pay as a package, you pay for entry and air together, all day air. Some fields I know do it by the number of fills you get, like 10 cents a fill of the tank, which is absolutely ridiculous. But usually you pay all together. My field charges $15 for the entry and air together, and they have a fill station there. There's a 3,000 psi fill station and a 4,500 fill station. There is a definite difference, as you can tell by the two different numbers. One's for 3,000 psi, one's for 4,500 psi. Do not fill your 3,000 tank on the 4,500 station. But another thing that people ask is, where do I get air if I'm just trying to shoot at my house? I'm trying to shoot a few pods at my house. What I do every time I go, as you can probably see on my marker on the gauge here, I have some air in here already. And that's because when I leave the field for the day, I just fill up my tank all the way, and that way when I want to shoot any paint at home, I have a full tank, and I know I'm not going to run that out just shooting a few pods. And I've heard people get scuba tanks, and there's an adapter you can buy online for those that you can fill tanks off of. I wouldn't recommend buying that. It's not worth the $100 to $150 you have to pay on a scuba tank, plus the $30-some you have to pay for the little adapter that goes on the top. It's just not worth it when you can just fill it up when you leave. So next I'm going to go on to all the equipment that you should get. So first I'm going to start off with the marker. This is my Bob Long V1 Victory, as you can probably tell from my other videos. This isn't the stock barrel, obviously, and I'll go into hopper and everything else later. But this gun runs right around 400 to 450, depending on what it comes with and what condition it's in and everything. This one itself was $415 shipped. And that's a really good price, because this thing was like brand new when I got it, pretty much. Even though it was used, it looks brand new, and it was barely used. So what guns should you get? I have some written down here, and these are current prices that I just got today. I recommend getting a Bob Long Mark 6 or 7, which is 6 or 7, just to clarify. They're two different markers. The only difference, though, is the milling. This is actually part of the Mark series, and the engine that's in the Mark 6 and 7 is actually fairly similar to this one, and they shoot pretty close in comparison. And they're really good markers, and they only run about 200 to 250 used, depending on condition and other stuff, like I said, what they come with and all that. And I already went over how much this gun costs, and I highly recommend this marker. This is my 3rd marker, and I am definitely holding on to this for a long time. This gun shoots absolutely amazing when you have it tuned right and everything, and I just love everything about it. It's very ergonomic and all that. The next gun I would recommend is a Dye DM9, which is basically, people say that it's probably the best DM from Dye ever made, possibly. I've heard some other things about, like, Dye DM6, Dye DM this, Dye DM that is better than it. But from what I've heard, the Dye DM9 is the best one out of their series, and that runs 300 to 350. And basically the whole thing with Dye DM9 or Dye DMs is that they're all pretty much the same. Internally they're the same, all that different stuff. What Dye does is they basically just change a few small things, change the milling a little bit, and call it a whole new gun. And they charge you the $1,000-some price tag when you could get basically the same thing with a little bit different milling for, say, 300 to 350. So I would definitely recommend looking into those. They shoot good. And the final gun I would recommend is a Planet Eclipse GO2. Those run right around $450, so that is by far the most expensive one. And I wouldn't pay more than $450 for it. After that, it's just not worth it. If you see someone asking $650, that's way unrealistic. I would not buy that. I've seen that quite a few times. But $450 is a good price for those. They are, I believe they have the OLED board integrated into the back here, and that's basically a LCD screen that tells you all the different things. This one, my Victory, runs on an LED board, which is perfectly fine, and they're both easy to use. It's personal preference, pretty much. I've never had an OLED board, so I wouldn't know if I like them better or not, but personally I just stick with the stock board. It works fine, so I wouldn't worry about it. Now, going into tanks, let me take my tank off of my gun while I'm talking. This tank that I have is a Ninja Grey Ghost 68-4500 with the adjustable regulator, which means you can adjust the pressure in it from 850 psi output to, I believe, right around 550 psi output. And that's for, like, this gun runs on low pressure, so you have to take out most of the shims in the regulator, which is what lowers the pressure output. So this one runs right around on the lowest pressure. And for pretty much any other gun, you won't have to worry about that. It's very few guns that run on low pressure, but the standard output should be fine. Anyways, these new go for $155.95, so $156 about. Now, you're going to say that's really expensive sounding for this, but as you can see, this is made out of carbon fiber. It's got the Ninja adjustable regulator. Ninja is highly, highly respected in the paintball industry, and they make by far the best paintball tanks out there, in my opinion. And the inside of this, I believe, is actually made out of aluminum under this carbon fiber, but it's mainly carbon fiber. This is not included. Obviously, I'll go into that in a few minutes. But other than that, I would recommend the Ninja Grey Ghost 50-4500, which is for $150.95. Basically, that's just a shorter length tank. I believe it cuts off like about that much, somewhere around there. I'm not sure. I've never used one, but it's the same tank basically, still with the adjustable regulator and everything. It's just smaller. It's all personal preference. But a 6845 is pretty much the standard in the industry. And the only other thing I would recommend is a used carbon fiber tank. I would only go with a Ninja tank. Like I said, they're the best ones in the industry. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with another tank brand. These are just the best ones. And if you get one used, you should get one that has a hydro date that is still good. Like mine here says 3/13. Don't know how well you can see this, but it has that symbol in the middle. That's how you know this is the hydro date right there. And that means it was made and hydroed in March of 2013. So you need to make sure that you get the hydro date on the tank and make sure it's, because these have a 5-year hydro, which means every 5 years you have to get it retested to make sure the pressure, it can hold up to a certain pressure still and it's still within safety standards and everything. And so you have to make sure that you get one that has, I'd say, at least 2 years left on the hydro. Maybe 1 would be okay if you're okay with getting it rehydroed, but the most I would pay for those is probably about $90 to $100, and that's a fairly decent price on it. Now, tank accessories, I only have one thing listed on my sheet here, and that is this Exalt tank grip, the Exalt 2011 tank grip it's called, and this was only 16 bucks. This basically makes it, because this outer coating on the tank is very, very slick and slippery, so if you have this in your arm, you're going to be running around or whatever, and it's going to go whoop, 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 whoop all over your arm. And so this basically is completely made out of rubber, and it just sits on the back of your tank, and it keeps it nice and sturdy in here. As you can see, it sticks to the shirt and everything. So that's a very, very good product to buy. I always love the Exalt products, and they always work well. And the only other thing that I forgot to put on my paper is this little fill nipple cover right here. This makes it so that no dirt gets into your fill nipple, which is where you fill your tank up from the fill station. Makes it so no dirt or anything gets in there, because if that gets in there, that's really bad. You don't want any oil, no dirt, no nothing in there. So this little rubber fill nipple cover is only about, I think it was like $1 or $2, so that's something else good to get for your tank. Now, going into hoppers, I have the Virtue Spire. Originally, they don't come with this speed feed here. The back part is interchangeable on these, and this is just a separate speed feed. But this is the best hopper I have probably ever used. I've never used a die rotor, which is another hopper, but this is probably the best hopper I've used so far. And these run 185 for standard colors and 195 for the special colors. And that's just because they want to make more money on getting special colors. This, when I bought it new, was 185. This was all black. This back part didn't come with it, remember. And the only other color you can get for 185 is the white, and it has this black strip around it to as an accent, and some other black accents on the back here. And so the reason hoppers are so expensive is because it's a lot of technology in a small package, and also because paintball companies have to make money, obviously, and they put all the time and the work into designing this small piece of technology that does a lot for your gun. So, onto my other hopper. This was the first hopper that I ever used, and this thing is actually fairly decent. It's still my backup hopper in case this one ever goes down for some odd reason. I doubt it will, but this hopper is the Invert or Empire. They go under the same name. Invert or Empire Halo 2. And you can pick these up used for like 45 bucks. I forget how much they are new. I think it's around like 70 bucks, but I'd honestly just get one used. This doesn't come with it normally. This is an Exalt speed feed. It comes with the normal lid usually. But this is a sound activated one, and it basically, whenever your gun makes a sound, I'll turn it on a sec. I don't know how well you can hear that, but when you hit it, or when your gun fires, it hears the sound of your gun and starts feeding paint. And I forgot to mention about this one. This one is G-force activated. I'll turn it on a sec. It pulses too. So whenever you tap the front of it, it starts to go. So it's activated by the G-force, they call it. It's really just movement, kind of like the vibration of your gun as it shoots. I'm going to put this down a sec. And the only other hopper I would recommend is a die rotor. I've never used one, so I'm not really recommending this, but I've heard good and bad things about them. The good things I have heard are that they're probably the most durable hopper out there, lots of people say. And they feed the fastest, probably. I've never used one, so I can't confirm or deny that, but the only problem I've ever heard is that sometimes they jam with regular paint, but I've also heard that that's not true, so I have no clue. A lot of people at my field use them, a lot of people use Spires, so it's all pretty much personal preference. The die rotor runs 150 for basic colors, which does not include black, which is, in my opinion, pretty ridiculous, because how hard is it to make a black shell? But for the non-standard colors, it's 190. So you're spending that much more just to get another color. That seems a bit ridiculous to me. But anyways, that's hoppers. Now on to masks. Here I have the V-Force grill, and it doesn't come with these GI Sports stickers, obviously new, but these have flexible bottoms. They come with the clear lens, which all masks do when they come new. And these, I really, really like these. I just got these recently, and it's really comfortable. You can hear well out of it, and I highly recommend this mask. I really, really like it. And normally it does come with the visor too that goes on the top. I just don't have mine. And the other mask that I used to have was called the Empire E-Flex. It's basically a mixture of JT's ProFlex, because JT got bought by Empire, and JT had a mask called the ProFlex, and Empire had a mask called the E-Vents. So they combined the frames from the E-Vents with the bottoms that are flexible from the JT ProFlex and made them into one mask when Empire bought JT. So it formed that mask, obviously, and that mask, I really liked it, but honestly I just wanted to try something new, found out I loved grills, and that's what happened basically. The E-Flex runs $109.95, about $80 used is what I see them go for. $80 shipped, that is. And that's another good mask. With masks, you honestly want to go to your paintball store and try on the mask before you buy it, because you want to make sure it's something comfortable that you're going to be happy with, and you're not going to say, oh, well, this mask is too small and it doesn't cover the lower part of my chin, doesn't cover the bottoms of my ears, whatever, or it's really uncomfortable. And the other thing is, you want to support your local paintball shops, because they're the ones that keep you able to play paintball, basically. They keep the field open, they get you the referees at the field, they get you your fresh paint every day. So you really want to support them. They're the basis of all of paintball. And the only other mask that I would recommend is called the Proto Pro Axis, which is a mask that Mike from Tech PB wears. It's got, I'm not sure really much about it, but he says that it's the most comfortable mask he's ever worn, and he's probably worn every mask out there. I'm not saying that's true or not, but he's worn, I'm sure, a ton of masks because he's been in paintball for a long, long time, and he's well respected in the paintball industry. He has a channel on YouTube. I believe it's just called Tech PB. It might be Tech PB Paintball or something. I'm not sure about that. Just look him up and you should be able to find his videos. And now finally, I'm going to go into the pod packs. This is my 2013 NXE Elevation pod pack. And as you can see, it's got these Velcro slots, 4 of them. It's got 2 elastic sleeves, 1 on either side here, and then it's got 3 spots for pods in the middle. So total, this thing holds 9 pods, which is an incredible amount of paint. And when you're just starting out, you really don't need that, obviously. I play speedball and I carry 6 pods, and even then, the most I've ever used in one game is probably 4 pods. And so if you're just starting out, I'd recommend getting something like this, which is an NXE basic pack, which doesn't have any of the elastic things in between here, obviously, or on the sides. And it's just a Velcro like that. It works just fine. It's just not in the back here. My 2013 NXE Elevation pack has the has support in the back, but this one doesn't. It doesn't really matter when you're just starting because you're not going to be needing to hold tons of paint or anything, so it's going to be perfectly comfortable. And those are, I highly recommend the NXE packs. That's all I ever used. I know some people like the GI Sports race packs. Those are like $70, I believe. My pack personally was, I think, 70. Yeah, right around 72, so they're right around the same price. Those are the only 2 companies that I know of for pod packs, really. I can't think of any ones off the top of my head other than that. The only other one would be Empire, and I don't know anything about those. But NXE is the only thing I've ever used, and they're really good. So, finally, for barrel socks, I have 2 here, as you can see. This one was my first one, and it works just fine. Barrel sock is basically just for when you're in the pits. You have to have these on. You have to put it. I put mine around my feed neck here, and you just put it over the tip of your barrel like that, and it just basically makes it so if somehow, some reason your gun isn't turned off, even if you think it is, it makes it so you shoot into that and it doesn't shoot someone else in the pits and cause them injury possibly, because you don't want to shoot someone else in the face possibly and then have them lose an eye, because obviously that wouldn't be too fun. And this is just another one that I have now. This is my current one. It's made by Raza Life, and it's basically, there's not much to say about barrel socks. They're just something you have to have. And so that's pretty much it, guys. Other than that, the only other thing I could say is go to your local field, and if they have a store there, look at all of this stuff at the store and basically try on as much stuff as you can. And thanks for watching, guys. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. And that's it.